Gentlemen, welcome back. We have ourselves a series on our hands. One that none of us were expecting, I have to say, based upon our predictions. So, gentlemen, firstly, I just want to say to all of ISU, hey, our bad. You guys proved us all wrong. Shout out to y'all. I appreciate you for taking us to a series. Next, Peyton, you guys were pretty harsh. You were pretty harsh on ISU earlier. What do you have to say for yourself?
I'm actually really proud of ISU because I said the only way ISU wins was the Drew Dozer show, but that was not the Drew Dozer show. That was like a coordinated, well-fought, team-played game. There were a lot of people sacrificing for each other and working together around their strengths. Graves coming down changed the game a lot. So, I mean, I'm really proud, and I think that's a huge come up for Game 3 for sure.
Yeah, it was a phenomenal comeback, exactly like you were saying, right? Considering I find once it got to around 20 minutes and I was like, ISU are pretty even. Things suddenly might not look the way they seem, but RMC, I'll give you a chance as well as I did Peyton. What do you have to say for yourself?
I mean, we did say it earlier on the analyst desk in the pre-show. If ISU can get to 25 minutes in pretty decent state, that is when they fully come online. And, they did do that. They did better than that. They were at 25 minutes in a good state. They were ahead at that point. And when we looked at game one, we're saying, okay, they needed something to bridge there. They needed to slow their gameplay down. And they did just that. I loved the grave picks for Squilliam, especially in that top lane with that hull breaker there. It bought them so much time as well to let Drew Dozer, to let Yen come online. Sure, the end game was a lot about Drew Dozer and Yen getting those picks and pumping out the team fight damage, but they'd never have gotten there if GFP, if Squilliam didn't buy them enough time.
No, it would have been a really interesting and potentially rough transition, right? If that not happened. And you know what? I just want to say and put that out there, like I had faith in you the whole time. I see you guys. Y'all know y'all are my hearts, bro. Of course, I said 2-0 just to go with the crowd. I got pressured into it. RBM said that he wouldn't boost me if I didn't. So I'm just But no, I completely agree with y'all. But so let's go ahead and try to break down a little bit on how this game went so phenomenally and was a little bit of a mess. But by the end, but how ISU clutched it out, starting off with how right at the beginning, we saw Winston was doing really solid. He was up in farm, and then he got a little bit too confident.
Yeah, Winston had a fat jungle kingdom going. Like, it was like a complete tragedy for the Xin Zhao. He did one camp gank bot lane, and then Hecarim's perma clearing. And this is threshold where Hecarim's always going to be stronger because he clears all of his camps. And all Winston had to do is finish the camp. You got the camp, and then go do the top crab, and then you are having such a great day. But instead, he overforced, and no communication, I'm assuming, came about the Graves could come down from base. And this is what really dooms the game, because now your Hullbreaker Graves is going to be unkillable in side lane against Akali, which I already don't like Akali into Hullbreaker Graves very much anyways, as we saw later in the game. But this was Jungle Kingdom was set up. It was perfectly set. Xin Zhao should not have been able to play the game forever, which, I mean, he was still down 2 levels even after this oopsies. But, we got to, again, cut our wins. A lot of people say cut your losses, but in amateur and collegiate, cut your wins because everyone goes way too crazy a lot of the time.
Cut your wins. I've never heard that before.
It's a thing. Zeus had we would have beat C9 Academy if Rahid cut our win, bro.
I like how you're blaming Raheen RBM when you're the jungler and we just watched a jungle replay over extended.
Yeah, bro. It's every single time, bro. Everybody knows it's his RBM did for the jungle, bro. But unfortunately, his laners couldn't step up to the plate. So moving on past that, though, RMC, we also saw some other laners who did end up stepping up to the plate. Ain't that right?
Yeah, for sure. And I will say I think that the lanes did well for both of the teams. I mean, we already touched on Drew Dozer and Yen and how they carried a lot of the later fights as well. But Shochi and Meech did a lot in terms of how they were playing. The problem is it just wasn't quite enough. And now this particular replay was around the 3rd dragon. And if you look at what Meech and Shochi were doing, they were pumping out a ton of damage there. They did their job, but it just wasn't quite enough. They actually, that fight they did win that, and they did manage to turn it for 3rd dragon. But that was kind of where the good story ended, where Shochi and Meech they won that fight, and the fights following that, they really struggled to bring their damage in. The zone control from the Veigar was just a little bit too much, and without the ability to follow up on Winston, and Winston not being ahead enough to survive the initial engage, it was a lot of sort of 5v1 on Winston, followed by a 5v4 into the rest of the team.
Yeah, it's unfortunately just like, I want to say like, just unfortunate death timers, right? And with people getting caught out at really crucial objective times and fighting around blue buffs, things that end up getting a little bit messy as we went on. But I find what was unfortunately the messiest thing was, when a fight that we thought might have turned for worse for wear for ISU, they somehow came on top of and in a fantastic way, which has led to the Baron. That right, Peyton?
Yeah, I mean, it was a great turnaround for ISU. The game, like I said, was Jungle Kingdom, but like then it got thrown 14 times, so the game was like relatively even state.
Yeah.
And then the Hecarim like is just like, again, just going a little bit too crazy, like overthinking his limits, I guess. No one is able to really help him on his engage, and we get Veigar show like this character's so broken. His solo wins this fight, and he gets to survive. Zeri's running it over, and Akali can't actually kill the Zeri till the very end because he misses most of his abilities since Zeri's Sonic the Hedgehog. And it's like absolutely impossible to hit him with anything. But it ended up being like a huge win. Like, this pretty much like put the game in their favor, and it was like pretty impossible for this comp to come back from it. But there's just so much sloppy plays. Drew Dozer on the Veigar. I love it so much. This champ is so OP. I was a little worried because Hecarim into Veigar is like Hecarim Dream almost, where like he can run this guy down and kill him anytime he really wants. But Drew Dozer played super well with his positioning, and even though it wasn't a Drew Dozer show, it was a great team play and individual performance from Drew Dozer, centered around I'm assuming a lot of good comms about the cage, and I'm propping Predator, I'm looking for the cage, directing your team in a great direction.
Yeah, for sure. And then from there as well, as if I continue, because RMC, I think you also saw just how massive that scale was for the fight for ISU.
Yeah, and in that particular fight, once again, you saw Shochi and Meech, surviving at the end there, and they were putting down the damage. Yeah. They were hurting the side of ISU there, but like RBM said, unfortunately, with the zoning control, right, from the Veigar here, the short range of the Rise really struggled to get in there and pump out the damage safely. Shochi was very tanky and was surviving. It's more about just the stun and breaking the flow of that Rise as well, not quite able to shotgun everything out there.
And with him not being able to do that, Rice cannot be the shotgun mage you want him to be. He can't go pop because Graves is already doing exactly that. And with Graves Hullbreaker and so many more items, ISU from there, managed to just transition things into the Baron and Peyton. Things after that were kind of over, I have to say, for AOE, because there was one fight left and naturally they had to win.
Yeah, once, like I said, we've reached that point where Veigar became God, and Veigar is just running at Hecarim with no fear at all, and Akali cannot kill the Mountain Soul anyone, so her champion is completely useless, but we did get hyped there. It was a huge Hecarim R, huge Aphelios R, but there's just not enough to finish everything else off. The Graves is completely unkillable. Gluten-free Panda finally caught up, even though, Xin Zhao was really useless all game, and the game just ends here, which is like, it's unsurprising, but it's more so like we could have prevented a lot of this from both sides. So there's a lot of things we're going to have to do better in this next game for sure.
And definitely on both ends, right? Because I find, although it wasn't just the clean gameplay you were asking for, in fact, it was even messier than last game. But
it's the same thing. I said all ISU has to do, cut your wins. And then AOE throws the very next game by not cutting their wins. It's the same thing. It's a really common theme. It's a common theme that allows teams that draft more scaling or more like easy to play comps, like a Veigar comp, to win games that are, even though on paper you look at these two teams, you're like, they're a lot, like this team has like a lot more like, players with more experience in amateur or like time, even in academy in Winston's case. Like, and you can take games off of, you can beat them, and it's like a huge like outlet for amateur teams to beat teams that they shouldn't beat. But we know how it goes.
I mean, it sadly is how the cookie must crumble, but now it's game number 3. It is anybody's game, and now with all my predictions wrong, you know what? I want to see it. Let's go Redbirds, bro. I'm just science. Let's see what happens.
It's happened before.
If this happens again, then I'm genuinely all for it because it makes for a fun time.
I'm taking IMT AOE then, for sure.
You know what? That's fine. No,
I think
I'll be the only one. I'm down for it. Because end of the day, when I look like the biggest brain, y'all gonna be suckers. But this is my opinion.
You know what? If Rab is willing to fall into sport for the rest of us, thank you, Rab. I'll take the IMT.
Yeah,
side.
I don't think Winston
broken,
will
right?
throw again. I think Winston had an oopsie game and it happens. I think draft needs to be a little bit different from both sides. I don't like TK very much, and I really, really, really don't like Xin Zhao R5. Like, if you pick Udyr into Hecarim there, like, your Udyr is, like, the happiest guy in the world. And we saw it, like, I was counting because I was a little upset that we picked Xin Zhao. So we had 8 CS in, like, the span of 2 minutes. And that's 2 camps. So I'm not a fan. But
all right, well, I hope that he manages to get more camps this time, more farm, and more wins perhaps as well. So let's go throw it over. The last game of the game for the polar opposites in here for our casters of Death versus Smacks.
Thank you so much, Ravish. You know, Smacks, with that last little exchange, I'm joining you, Ravish. I'm on board. ISU are gonna take this 2-1. Smacks, have you flipped any bit whatsoever?
I'm sticking with Immortals, but I'm shaken. You know, I think Immortals, if they can lose once, then they can definitely lose again. Redbirds are on a roll right now, and I think a lot of that's going to come down to if they get Zeri or not again. I think that's going to be banned in this third game.
Most likely. It was the expectation set from ISU. At the start of the day, I said it. One of the things they like to do is just int the early game and just carry on into the mid game and win anyway. It's a strange dynamic with this squad, but man, that made for a fun game number 2. And as we head into game number 3, you have to wonder what's on the mind of IMT Immortals. You already said one thing. Don't think Zeri is going to get through. I wonder what that is going to forfeit in order to... forfeit one of the bans in order to get that Zeri ban away.
Yeah, to take another look at it, the 3 bans that Immortals AOE went with were Zilean, Lulu, and Jinx. So the Zeri's already there alongside the Zilean, so either Jinx or Lulu will fall through the cracks. We do know that Meech is a very skilled Jinx player, so that very well could be the one that they leave open, and then they can first pick that one from there.
See if they're willing to go for that. ISU, on the other end of things, are still willing to stick it out with the original bans that they had. The Gwen, the Caitlyn ban, one more ban to come through is a Felios getting taken away from Immortals this time.
Yeah,
they're the one banning it away. Still looking for that final ISU one.
It seems like they're asking ISU to, they're just daring ISU to ban Jinx from here, and they do.
Yeah.
So Meech will have to go to a different option. We have seen him pull out things like the farming Senna recently, alongside Trevor, and that has looked pretty impressive. Still boasting pretty impressive numbers all throughout. Lots of damage too, so that could be an angle that Meech continues to take. He has had a pretty limited champion pool, all things considered, but that's mostly just because people haven't really tried banning him out. He's got definitely more things in store for that role, so I wouldn't be too concerned if I was Immortals until this Lulu gets locked in. That could be a problem.
So Lulu locked in on the side of ISU. You can flex this around a little bit if it goes over to Tempos. He is the Enchanter heavy support. It is a champion that is in his wheelhouse and that he can perform quite well on. We'll see what he pairs it with when Yen's able to get his marksman locked in, because there's so many ADC bans at this stage.
Interestingly for ISU, because they were sort of forced to ban Jinx, they are in a very similar situation that RBM is probably seething at right now, where they have first picked the Xin Zhao and Olaf is available for Immortals to take again. And I wouldn't be surprised if Winston goes in that direction right here, Deserex. They already have the Graves, which rounds out their top side from that first game. And wow, yeah, they are looking for more enchanters too. So Karma locked in. This is a flex pick that, again, would be pretty nice with the Olaf if Winston wants it.
And I really do want to know if this Lulu is going to go for the support role. I know Drew Dozer is not exactly one to play the Lulu, but it is an old combo that worked really well, right? The mid lane Lulu paired up with the jungle Xin Zhao. The next hover for IMT is going to be Olaf. They're just flexing it around, saying, hey, maybe, but no, Ezreal going for the marksman role.
Yeah, very different from what we usually see from Meech. Usually his auto attack carry style is really, really good, different look, and it will have to be good against the Vayne for Yen. This is more similar to what we usually see from ISU, where they just have complete late game control. Lulu and Vayne together, you're gonna need a lot to take down these two champions, and IMA doesn't really have it right now in their draft.
Yeah. Lulu provides so much enabling, and especially in the context of both of these picks that we've seen out of ISU. We talked about it a little bit with the duo roam that you can get with Xin Zhao Lulu if that Lulu heads towards the mid lane. Still expecting it to head towards the bot lane, and if it does, well, now you got it paired with the Vayne, and you can pair up that on-hit damage with all the true damage that you're able to ramp up on that Vayne with Yen.
Yeah, I really like that combination that the Karma and Ezreal too. You get outranged pretty heavily, although the scaling is pretty free for the most part. You just have to dodge some of that poke, and you are good as can be. Now for ISU, they did really choose to heavily ban out the mid lane, leaving Olaf available, as Immortals did show that they weren't too keen on picking that as early as they did before, going for the Ezreal instead. So maybe ISU reading that the Olaf actually won't come through after all.
So heavy into that mid lane pull. Syndra, Ryze, Veigar. Next V champion up is going to be Victor, so it's a test again. It's a test of how deep these champion pools do go. I know Corki is available. I'm still eyeballing that one. Other champions on the map that you could possibly take, Orianna and Cassiopeia. Cassiopeia we saw in the game number 1. Orianna still on the board.
Ooh. Okay, we are full late game, Deserex. Orin is here, making sure that you have the upgraded items later on. And for ISU, they actually are saving their counterpick for mid lane as well, making sure that Drew Dozer does have agency very early on. I really, really like that idea, because you do have just so much scaling that if you have a good matchup in mid lane, it's going to bolster that very, very heavily, and you can actually participate in the early game and maybe go for some of these objectives.
Give me it. Just give me it. It's time. It's not banned. You're saving it for a counter pick. I know it's not exactly a counter pick, but still, just give me it as J4 locked in for IMA. I'm just waiting. I don't want to see any more drafts. I just want to see that final one on the side of ISU.
Depending on what Immortals decide to lock in for their mid laner, could determine whether or not we get the fabled Drew Dozer Corki, as Deserex is alluding to here.
Give me a drum roll.
Orianna, I feel like that matchup could be okay for Corki.
It's hovered. It's hovered. Orianna makes it interesting. You do get the wombo combo that you have with the J4.
Yep.
Utility Mage provides a lot of zone control and is great for retaliating on a lot of short-range champions such as his Vayne.
Yeah, I like the idea a lot. It actually does give them a pretty distinct range advantage into the Vayne also, as Gragas. Is this... Which one of them is going mid? Is it Gragas mid? Ornn mid? I think it's Ornn mid.
That's Ornn mid. That's Ornn mid.
Okay. That's awesome.
No. I'm going to op.gg's right now. I want to see what Drew Dozer's been doing in these solo queue games. That suddenly out of nowhere, he's just, oh, he does play Ornn in ranked. Okay. Okay, so...
how well did he do while you're there? Was it good?
Okay. I gotta scroll a little bit because I just saw it off the top. I'm scrolling. Okay. Here it is. Ranked solo. Played it 22 days ago. Defeat 261. Let's go. It was top lane though. It was top. He didn't actually play it in the mid role.
Well, 3 weeks ago, he's got the practice. You can't say he hasn't played it, which is the most important thing. He does have somewhat recent experience on this champion, piloting it in the mid lane against Orianna too. Things just got very, very interesting, because now you have 2 tanks on the side of ASU in this game to make sure that Yen on Vayne can be the main carry. You have the counterpick Vayne into Ezreal. You are going to out DPS this champion as long as you get in range. That's the caveat. And when you do have this full front line and a Lulu, getting in range is pretty easy.
Oh, goodness. And the amount of protection you can provide onto Yen on this Vayne, so much. Explosive Cast is great at splitting out, providing that zone control, the wild growth with the Lulu. It's pretty much a feed the puppy comp that we're getting out of ISU. You want Yen to get big into that late game.
It's not quite the Kog'Maw puppy, the Void pup, but it is a very similar champion gameplay-wise, at least. And it actually, despite the range advantage from Jarvan and the engage potential, it actually does have a pretty favorable interaction with Jarvan, where when he does jump on you with Cataclysm, you can condemn him into his own wall. So he doesn't actually deal that much damage by himself against you. It's what comes after that you have to be pretty careful of. And Vayne, her movement ability, of course, is locked behind terrain. Gotta be a little careful after that Cataclysm is there with the big wall locking you in, potentially.
I want to see this get to the late game. IMA, they don't want it to the late game, that's for sure. You want to cut this game off early. You want to find those big team fights in the mid game that just put a stranglehold on ISU, but do not let this get to the late game if you're IMA, because there's so much team fight prowess, there's so much team fight potential on the composition of ISU.
I am far from convinced that this Ornn will ever die in this game if it goes past like 20-25 minutes. There's not a lot of tank shred here, especially if this Graves is going for the standard Hull Breaker into Lifesteal item. Pretty far removed from anything like Armor Pen or Lord Dominic's, where you can get the Giant Slayer. You better hope that everybody on Immortals is taking cut down if it goes late game. If not, then good luck for Immortals killing Ornn.
And that is a scary idea. I mean, one of the things you do have going is having so much of this be short range. Like, what is your wave clear to work with if you're ISU? You have the barrels. You can't get Vayne too close, though. She doesn't have the best wave clear to deal with any of the sieges that come out of IMA for the early to mid game.
We've seen that Shochi has been a really big boon for his team in the draft specifically. He goes for a lot of different playstyles, and he will need to bring all of that to a really solid performance in this game, I feel, in order to get Immortals that win. A lot of that is exploiting the wave clear, because you do have the command movements here on Orianna. You can deny a lot of that wave clear and a lot of that pressure that can be applied by these melee champions just by positioning the ball right in front of them. Like, are you going to walk past the Orianna ball? Probably not.
Well, we do have a bit of a technical difficulty going on. We are going to throw it to a short break. When we return, we should be able to hit the rift right away for ISU versus Immortals AOE. Welcome back, everyone. Redbird Esports, IMT AOE. Thank you for being patient for the standby there as we worked out those technical difficulties. All sorted out and ready to go as we hit this game number 3, Smats.
You know what? It's just playing into the strategy of Redbird. They're playing for the late game, so they can delay that one as much as possible and get all their levels into Ornn. Of course, that is just a joke, because that is not actually how it works. But you guys have probably already knew that. Immortals AOE trying to stack up in the bottom lane and get as much resources and as much information as possible before they leave.
And they're going to need it. As we said earlier, the champion select during the draft, this is a lot of pressure on IMT AOE to be proactive in the early game, to be proactive in the mid game, because this composition by Redbird, man, if you let it scale, if you let it get towards that team fight phase, there's a lot you're going to have to deal with, and Yen can tear apart health bars like no tomorrow.
Ooh, this is really interesting. So Drew Dozer did actually spot this out because he's waiting in this brush. Wow. Very unorthodox place to be standing. One that will end up being very helpful. Him revealing himself right there actually does let Immortals know that he saw them. There's a ward here too, just to make sure that Redbirds can confirm that this buff is stolen away by Winston. Exactly what he will do. And from here, Redbird just have to play very, very, very safe on their bot side.
It's a hard thing to contest. You don't want to challenge a J4 with the Karma right next to it. It's a lot of front-loaded damage. You know, Karma does have pretty high base numbers. You still have the passive of J4. It can be a tricky thing to fight down. Not going to go for that contest. Instead, going to contest the top side, GFP. Looking for a gank on Anime Girl.
Ooh, that was the dash used. So if Anime Girl walks forward, then he will be under fire and will be very, very dangerous. So not quite going to do it, waiting for the True Grit to come back up. Or a Quick Draw, I believe it is actually called. Grit is the passive. as it won't be punished anymore. Gloomsphere Panda more interested in blue buff.
Will take his own blue buff back. It is spotted out, but this is to be expected from both teams at this state. GFP will just mirror what's going on from Winston, grabbing the blue buff for himself. Continue on his pathing. Curious if he'll snake around towards that top side, try and stop Anime Girl from doing too much. Not going to do it in the early game. Just going to be happy to walk out of this one. The pressure that we're seeing in the mid lane, though, coming out of Shochi, this is a terrifying thing for Redbirds to have to deal with. They've been dealing with it a lot. Every time they get priority, usually free up Shochi. Drew Dozer's looking to contest that by just straight up jumping onto Shochi. It's not going to change too much, though, because Winston still gets the invade. Still going to steal away some of those camps. It's level 3 versus level 2 here. Low health on GFP. Same on Winston. Just get the steal, walk away. Winston happy to grab it.
And I'm sure RBM is very happy with that outcome, too. Last time, in the exact same scenario, he got the camp and then kept going. But this time, he will get the camp and then leave before he can dive underneath the turret. A lot safer of a play and a lot less opportunity for the opposition to punish. Winston going to go back over to the crabs and start eating up some more camps. It's a full crab for himself, and it's the bot side crab too. I don't think Gloomsphere Panda was really expecting this, as he is now in that river, sort of wishing that he had gone topside.
Yen eating quite a bit of those karma cues. Being poked out, seeing what that karma can do when you're trying to just put your face into the enemy ADC and slowly wail them down. As he said, the ward placed there at a pretty good time for Meech will spot out GFP. Has to take the recall. Teleport will be used by Shochi. Returns to the mid lane with his tier and a call picked up as well.
Oh, yeah. The call is really interesting. Just going full scaling on the mid lane. Pretty surprising considering how much scaling is on the other team. But Shochi going for the mid-game wake-up with the cull. Potentially a bit disrespectful, honestly, against Ornn to do this, but he knows he has the time, and he knows he can exert the energy to finishing this.
Yeah, it's a lane that Drew Dozer is pretty much going to see at this state for a long time now. Shochi's going to continue pushing, and he has the tier that you had mentioned just a second ago. That wave clear that comes out of Orianna. It's definitely a hard thing to contest when it's all tied to AoE. Now Anime Girl, over in this top side, really shoving in Squilliam. Putting the pressure on. A bit of CS lead here. This is going to be the nature of this Graves being in the top side, but GFP once again tries for a gank over in the bottom side, really putting his attention towards this bottom side. Coming up empty-handed once again.
And unfortunately, Immortals do ward the bush at the same time. That's one less ward to work with. But yeah, like you said, Gluten-Free Panda really staying bot side for the third game in a row. 1v1 against Winston. Is it level down?
We do have Drew Dozer there. He's looking for that knockup. Flash available for Winston. Ooh. And instant turn coming out of Winston. Gonna score first blood. 3 Talon Strike does find the knockup. One more auto. You need to get him. You can't. Shochi picks up the kill. 1-0-1 to start off early for both the jungler and the mid laner of IMT AOE.
So clean for Winston to get out of that situation and notice that Drew Dozer is overextended on the play. Even the flash can't save Ornn in the exchange. First blood for Winston, another kill for Shochi, and this is the early game start that's going to help Immortals win this game.
Good move out of Winston there. You know, feeling the pressure from Drew Dozer, just throws it right back at him. Doesn't give a damn what's going on in these trades. That's the aggression that's needed to really close this out for IMT AOE to have a game state where they feel comfortable taking Redbird the later stages.
And maybe that's why the call is picked up. Shochi, he might not have had the foresight to know that he would get a kill and an assist in the next minute, but he does know that this Ornn matchup is low free. Maybe now
here we go. No flash available. Shockwave comes out, going to pull GFP closer. 3 Talon Strike. There's the knock up, the crowd control. Too good from this duo. A kill going over to Redbird.
I like GFP's positioning there for the Shockwave, moving a bit outside of that range so that he gets knocked inward toward where Shochi was running away to. Really like that combination play from GFP and Drew Dozer. Another proactive map movement from the Xin Zhao. And we're seeing again that GFP isn't quite able to match the CS. I do still like that play, and I like that he's still looking to get things done because he really does need to.
Now moving towards this top side is going to be Winston. Rift Herald coming up quite soon, and a 1v1! Anime Girl! Oh my god, that happened right off screen! That is oppression!
Yeah.
How do you deal with that? Just shoved right into the wave, killed underneath your own tower. That's when you start to lose hope.
Yeah, we are going to need to take a look at that one, because Squilliam doesn't even use his flash in the exchange. Must have been completely shocking to him, let alone us. Oh, he's just underneath the turret. Does Anime Girl just have enough mana and ults? Is that what happens here?
No, collateral damage was on cooldown. Is it just
you're right.
the end of the line?
I guess it is. He's underneath this turret. Throwing some auto attacks on there. Wait for the end of the...
Oh, it was.
Wow. Deals a lot of damage.
Yeah, he landed it right on the tower, so he got the earlier detonation on top of it. Pain for poor Squilliam.
Yeah, and this is giving way to a really big win condition for Anime Girl on this Graves. You know, I like that attempt from Squilliam. I respect that. Throwing everything to try to get the steal, hoping that Winston mistimed something. He wasn't actually going to be able to pick the Rift Herald up, but you could potentially deny it away. He's definitely not using those spells in this lane. He's not killing Graves anytime soon, so I don't think he actually loses that much for that.
So, with Squilliam's lane hurting a little bit, it's not the worst state of things. It is harder to try and dive onto a Gragas. Given the tools he has available, you know, you try and come in with the Flag and Drake, he can meet you with the Body Slam. So it's not a terrible game state, it's just not the most... It's not what you're looking for if you're Redbird and trying to get this composition online early.
It's not the coziest Gragas. He's not all bundled up in his blanket. He's definitely on his toes at this point. Will it eventually and inevitably be a scaling beast in the front line for this team? You have to imagine these trades. He's got some healing too. It's good to remember that Gragas passive does keep him afloat quite nicely. Even though Anime Girl has this Vampiric Scepter, you don't have to worry too much about being chunked super low in the trades. I say that he did get solo killed because of it, so maybe.
Need some armor if Anime Girl is going to go this hard onto Squilliam. He's taking the recall right now, no teleport available. Purchase. No, he just goes straight for the AP.
Okay. I actually am really curious what he's going to build. He's in the mid lane again, or an ult.
Yeah, Call the Forge God gets the knockup, gonna follow it up with 3 Talon Strike. The knockup timed with the Shockwave. Shochi could not get any opportunity to get away, but here comes the Cataclysm. Crescent Guard pushes Winston right out of his own ult, and he gets slain by GFP. Double kill coming in as Redbird strike back.
Wow. Deja vu in mid for GFP and Drew Dozer, killing Shochi again. Not on his flash cooldown that time either. And unfortunately for Winston, he shows up to try to clean up the fight at the exact time that Tempos is there to respond. Stop playing. Squilliam, be careful, man.
He's trying to use that tower. Oh my goodness!
He did it!
Get it! He got the outplay! 1v1 Squilliam versus Anime Girl. Just keep the camera up here.
What? How did he just do that against Anime Girl? Flash is available, but he's underneath the turret and it just doesn't do anything. In the bottom lane, another play is happening, trying to find an exchange. No Shockwave available, and they can't find it.
Oh, what a wild play over on that top side, but we got to take a look at the game plan that's coming out here from Drew Dozer and GFP.
Yeah, and again, Orianna does not have flash for this one. They played off the timer again incredibly well, and through Shockwave, they're not able to find it. Winston completely overcommitting, and even through the ultimate there, the Crescent Guard, knocking him outside of his own Cataclysm, there was really no way that he could stay in range of the Xin Zhao and finish him off.
Man, I really wasn't ready for what happened on that top side. Anime Girl shoving in the wave once again, just putting this pressure on. Perma shoved for Squilliam. Anime Girl, 12 minutes into this, has collected quite a few plates. Now GFP showing up towards this top side. Another plate soon to fall for Anime Girl. Quite the income for Anime Girl 12 minutes into this.
It's going to be a Rift Herald. Whether Winston likes it or not, the cooldown was going to expire right there, so it doesn't need to use it in this lane. Drew Dozer will deny quite a bit of the gold going over to Shochi, though. I believe the auto attack wasn't there for Shochi, and he wasn't in the vicinity. That much is for sure, certain. So couldn't get any of that gold. All of it funneled into Winston, and we can see that despite this, Shochi does have quite a bit of gold. I think a lot of that is.
Oh.
A lot of that's because of call. What's going on, guys?
I told you, just keep the camera up here. They're not going to stop either.
We're just trading kills back and forth.
It's William's turn. It's William's turn.
I can't even imagine what this must feel like for someone like Meech, who's just hanging out bottom lane, throwing mystic shots in the minion wave, and every so often he's just looking top and somebody's dead with no jungler.
It's a battle here between these two squads. Now starting to try and grab the Drake will be Redbird. We do have Trevor and Winston over there. Could flag and drag over the wall. Would be one-way trip, though. Ooh, no Lantern. No Thresh as Drew Dozer looks to challenge, gets the knock-up call. The Forge got a double knock-up onto Winston. He gets decimated. Squilliam grabbing the kill there. Now going for the dive on the Meech. There's the body slam, the cask. Oh, too easy. Meech picks it up, and Trevor is stranded. There's sharks around the waters. That is his tower. Waiting to push in the minion wave is Redbird Esports. They don't have too much of a wave to work with. It will be cut out. Trevor's going to be okay, but Redbird have just gotten a kill lead off that last trade.
I can't believe it right now, Destrux. The Ornn mechanics are phenomenal in that last team fight as, good. We get to see what happened to Squilliam the second time. Here we go. All the Graves damage under the turret. Will it be exactly the same as it was before? Ooh. You know, nice moves.
Okay. You know, that was respectable. That was a little bit mechanical going between the two. It wasn't just an outright, hey, I'm going to dive you and you're going to die.
I like it. All three of these plays have been Anime Girl diving under that single turret. Just a little bit of a coin flip on who's going to win it or not. Anime Girl lands heads this time, and he's hunting alone this time in the bottom lane. Another turret. Grasped by the clutches of Graves.
And grab that tower. Now here comes GFP. Damage is there for Anime Girl, so you have to take him down quite quickly and manage some of this aggro from the buckshot. Half health, both of them fell before they were able to take down Anime Girl.
That's another kill onto Anime Girl. He already got what he wanted for it, if we're being completely honest. He was just there for that turret, and he did definitely know that it was greedy of him to stay for it, even though there were a bunch of people coming over to stop him. All the same, another structure for Immortals AOE, and this really big last one that they want is in mid lane. They already have the Rift Herald for it, and despite the scaling advantage that Redbirds have, if you don't have all the resources available to you through your jungle being choked out, then you can't really scale as well.
Squilliam with a hell of an angle, now flashes forward, looks to lock down Meech. There's the shockwave, pulls Squilliam back in. Cataclysm to lock him down, but Squilliam's going to survive. Meech falls low. Shuchi's grabbing Squilliam, and another one falls. A 1-for-1 trade thus far. It's going to be Redbirds who continue pushing the momentum, continue pushing the play. The call, the Forge Rod goes out. It's going to be another kill going over to Yen, who gets the dub. And now Meech running away with the Mystic shots, popping them onto GFP. Wind comes lightning, will not land onto his backside. But Redbird Esports, they're bringing it back. They might have a gold deficit, but they keep getting these team fight wins.
And it feels like Immortals just committed to the wrong member right there. They sent everybody to try to take down this Gragas, but the Lulu's there to keep him alive for so long, and then Yen on the flank for Vayne. is just providing so much DPS in this team fight. And again, like you said, even though they're down in gold, they have all of this scaling at their side, and they can stay afloat in this game. I really want to highlight that GFP has actually been able to come back into the farm deficit for really the first time in this whole series. He's at parity with Winston.
Yeah, Winston ran through GFP in a lot of the early game when it came to gold, when it came to farming in game number 1 and game number 2. Great display out of GFP to finally contest with that as Drew Dozer starts to trade with Winston. The Herald is going to be placed down. Drew Dozer just knocking it up for the time being as the Audacious Charge comes out of GFP looking for Winston. Does not get the knockup. Wind becomes lightning, lands on the Winston, but the flag and drag will get him over to safety as the tower falls. IMT, get it, and get the disengage.
And again, Immortals AOE are just here in the business of taking turrets. That is what they got. They're acknowledging that these team fights are getting more and more dicey. The skirmishes, too. They're not really winning out on these plays in terms of combat. The destruction on the structures is what they're here for. They get another one. It's 3-0 in terms of turrets. The question now becomes, can they push this even further and deny these resources from Redbird?
And you can tell Redbird doesn't want to leave this mid lane area because you have 40 seconds until this Drake does spawn. So not conceding priority of the mid lane, not conceding priority of the river. But you have to watch Anime Girl, who is getting priority in that bot lane, who's shoving that wave in, giving you something that you have to answer to. Still 25 seconds, still Drake spawns. Redbird in the open.
They really can't go for anything more Anime Girl in that lane. So the Drake is up, he needs to be there for the team fight, and he can't get picked off so easily. This is the flank.
It's William over the wall, he's looking for Winston, flag and drag. Doesn't get Winston to safety, the explosive cast stops him. Anime Girl now waiting in the flanks, but it's an uneven battle. Redbird Esports have taken down the jungler of IMT AOE, and they're looking for more, as out comes a double knockup for the Call the Forge God. They're finding more, and they're getting everything they want. Even with a shockwave, it's not going to be enough to stop Redbird from running right through IMT AOE, and this is terror right here, Smacks. Redbird have won 3 team fights in a row.
Winston picked off beforehand, no Cataclysm available, no Smite available, and there's just no way to get on top of Yen's Vayne. There's no engage without Jarvan, and he's able to free fire onto everybody. This counter matchup here for the Vayne survived lane beautifully and is now thriving in the team fight zone that Redbird is so comfortable with.
It's happening again, Smacks, and now here comes an engaged 3 talent strike, gets the knockup, looking for more, will be Drew Dozer, but doesn't find the knockup of his own. Now the teleport coming in, but the cask is there to get a slow Anime Girl against the wall from the explosive cask, and GFP find the finish. No, Anime Girl will take him down, but Shochi gets locked down by Drew Dozer, still try to escape, still try to get the chip damage, but he is a beefy boy, too tanky to take down. Drew Dozer walks right on through, and that's 3 down, only sacrificing the jungler if you're Redbird Esports, and you're looking for more in Trevor, who has to flash over the wall just to survive.
Looks like he will make it. Not so lucky, his lane partner. You can see in the aftermath, Yen flashed to kill Meech in that play as well. 3 quick kills for the ISU Redbirds. And they're just taking over the entire map right now, Deserex. I think we're going to be witnessing this gigantic upset in this series.
Oh my goodness, it's happening.
Here it is.
The upset wildcard. Here we go again with Yen popping off on Meech, catching him completely isolated, Smacks.
Yeah, and he flashes over this wall too to finish this one off. Wow, beautiful play for Yen in the isolated 1v1 against Meech. Of all people, this guy has been the all-star of marksmen in our tournaments here in the Proving Grounds Qualifiers 2022. He just got a solo kill by Yen. This is the hero for Redbird Esports in this late game. He has all of the resources at his disposal in a draft like this, and he is taking them and running with them.
The team drafted around Yen, and it's finally starting to come online. We're seeing it come to fruition. Only 1K separating both of these squads now. Redbird have closed the gap. They're getting closer to that point where they get the gold priority, and it's going to keep adding up because you do have an Ornn on your team who can provide even more in terms of itemization. But here comes the double knockup on the Winston once again. When looking to follow up, it's going to be Yen, the flash over the wall. Drew Dozer can't get Winston. Winston will escape by the skin of his teeth, but they're going to settle for Trevor instead as the knockup comes through. Winston too low. This is going to be Baron, a Redbird Esports. They're taking it right here as the ultimate goes through. True Shot Barrage finds it. There is the flag drop, but not going to drag through. Will be Winston. Esquilion will chase him away. Look at Anime Girl on this bottom lane. We'll find another structure. The knockup is found. It's going to be on to Meech. Meech now trying to run away, but there's a shockwave to find the disengage. IMT are playing this well. They're delaying this while Redbird can't get the Baron.
Incredible play for Immortals. They can stall these recalls even further. Winston engaging in!
Oh, Winston goes down. GFP survives. Shochi exhausted. He is now slowed, and Yen has found and will take him down. The double kill.
He left!
Now Meech is trying to run away. GFP falls to about 300 health, but the Mystic Shot is going to be able to find its mark as Meech gets more on his escape on this kite. He throws out another Mystic Shot in Tempos and Drew Dozer. I don't think they're willing to contest this one anymore. They don't want what Meech has to handle. There is the arcade ship, has to flash away, gets another one on the Tempos as Yen joins the fray, has the red buff, has the blue buff. The chase going to continue, but Meech will walk away in time. And IMT, it's a game of inches, so very carefully they're playing this. One more True Shot Barrage down the middle.
Oh, I was so scared there for Tempos, but he lives in the end, and Meech ends up being the savior in that team fight, saving all of the time for Anime Girl to go and take 2 turrets and a full inhibitor. We now are witnessing all of the super minions piling up against Redbird. Meanwhile, Immortals AOE, they're starting Baron.
Oh my goodness, this could be disastrous for either of these teams right now. Looking for the call is going to be True Dozer. Here comes the call of the Forge God, looking for the knockup. Will he get it? The Baron established by Immortals AOE. Looking for the knockup again, but misses onto Winston. Still pursuing. It's going to be Redbirds, but look at Meech. He's able to run away. Squillion finds him, though. We'll get the explosive casket. Down goes Meech. Drew Dozer stands tall, tries to block the line. Squillion on the back line gets another one. And there's the teleport now being used.
Look at the base
by IMT. Anime Girl has shown up. He's looking to try and get Nexus Towers as the rest of Redbirds get pushed right on out. But here comes Squilliam once again. They are going to be able to stop it.
Anime Girl can't quite finish the game, but you know what they can do, Deserex? They can deny the Drake Soul. They already killed Yen. They already killed Drew Dozer. This is going to be their objective alongside that Baron. And IMT AOE are still in this game for sure. These team fights are so close. And they actually are making such incredible decisions around the map as well, completely wiping the Rift of all of its objectives.
They're seeing flashbacks of the first circuit qualifiers. They're saying no, not today, as they bring it back to Redbird Esports, who are so close to finally closing that gold gap, has now expanded from 1K to 3K once again. Meech with these Mystic Shots, with his ability to kite, has been phenomenal in keeping them alive. Now with an inhibitor down, IMT AOE having the Baron will have the front foot on the Rift.
Moving into this mid lane, we have to see if Immortals can take any more structures off of the Rift, or potentially even a game-winning team fight. It's really difficult to actually find common footing between these two teams for IMT's sake, because the last few team fights have been good because they've been around an objective that Redbird needs to fight on. Immortals, they can't necessarily force Redbird into as uncomfortable of a position if they want to take a win fight, a team fight win. They want to win through those means. But thanks to this Baron buff, they have the external win condition of taking all of these structures. Mid lane turret is now dead. 45 seconds left on the Baron. They might be able to take all 6 outers.
It's the move that Redbird have to do right now. They have to let these be forfeited.
Double TP.
Otherwise,
Oh, no!
you get dived. Yen goes down. Squillian once again going after Meech. Is able to get a couple of casts onto Meech, but Meech gets to the safety of his team. And now ISU are just looking to get back to the safety of their base. Here comes Drudozer trying to hold the line of explosive cast, able to disrupt the backline, flag and drag as GFP uses the Crescent Guard, able to block a lot of that damage that was coming in from INT AOE, but the health bars have not fallen for Redbird. They only lost Yen in it. They still have a defense to make.
Losing Yen is the worst possible thing that could happen to them, though. 10 seconds left on this Vayne. They can stall this out. They can keep Immortals interested and in their base. This could be a team fight wipe. Looks like they're not able to do it in time unless...
Oh, the knock
Yen's
up onto
up.
Anime Girl. Drudozer backing up, realizing that there's a lot of damage in this 5-stack of IMT AOE, but they got what they wanted. Inhibitor in the top lane down. Redbird Esports, their base is in shambles.
Yen needs to be a lot more careful in this one, Deserex. He cannot get engaged on like that. He needs to have the backup of his team. He's really close to a third item, and you can see it right here. He's really trying to farm up for that Wit's End so he can have that extra bonus in these fights. Once he gets it, he just needs to stop going for any resources. It doesn't matter if he has 3 items, 4 items, 5 items at this point. The game's going to end if you die a single more time on this Vayne. He needs to stay alive. He needs to be with his team. And I'm sure he knows that moving forward. He is out of options.
He is everything for Redbird Esports, and Immortals AOE very well aware of that. A minute 45 seconds before the Drake spawns, and an early position set up by AMT AOE. You know that Redbird really want this Drake. That would be Dragon Soul for them, but they have to walk into a rift that is dominated by Immortals AOE.
Taking that Drake seems like a long shot at this point, as you mentioned. Immortals have so much control over everything. They've really taken a firm grasp back onto this game. Despite having half the kills of their opposition, the team fights haven't quite been there, except for this late game. IMT have really turned it around. They've slapped themselves in the face. They've had the wake-up call, hey, we don't want to lose this one. We don't want to be knocked out into an uncomfortable position like it happened last time in this tournament. We want to be on the upper side.
You can see them trying to push out. You've sent Drudozer towards the top side. You've sent Squilliam just to try and alleviate these lanes. But that's the problem. The moment you're isolated, they will engage.
He's dead.
Yen is found and destroyed. Tempo's getting chased down. Drudozer only trying to stop the bleeding here. Gets a knock up onto Meech, and Meech falls. GFP will try and fight and stall the line to buy time for Redbird Esports. Winston looking for a flag and drag. Drudozer will be able to sidestep it. Flashes forward, gets the knock up onto Shochi. Explosive cast. Shochi's able to survive. Drudozer looking for more. He will only find pain and suffering as Anime Girl gives him a buckshot to the face. Now Tempos and Squilliams on the defense here, but there is so much you have to work through if you want that final inhibitor to stay alive. Another teleport coming through as Immortals AOE look to claim number 3.
Yen is up in 1 second. There he is onto this rift. Immortals might not be able to take that inhibitor. They choose to back away. A bigger prize waits for them in the Drake pit, denying the Drake soul again. Another 5 minutes Redbirds will have to wait if they want to claim that soul that they worked so hard in the early game to achieve. Another team fight won by Immortals AOE, and again, they find the snapping gauge onto Yen.
You're finding pretty much the last chance that Redbirds are going to have. That flash timer almost up for Yen. That needs to be used in this next team fight. You need to keep Yen alive. If he goes another fight, falls, even with that flash up, with that flash down, it's pretty much going to be game over with how great IMT AOE have been at closing the distance onto Yen, taking him down. Potential Baron bait right here coming out of IMT AOE.
Look at their base right now, though, Deserex. There are 2 super minions and full waves in that top lane. Yeah, you do need to recall. Somebody's going to have to deal with this. A turret might fall regardless at this point. There are so many minions attacking that one at this point. They would have just completely lost game outright had Squilliam not arrived. But he does not have teleport, and he won't be able to get to this play if it happens right now.
Keep Yen alive for Redbird as they chase IMT AOE away from this Baron pit. Yen taking a third of his health from his True Shot barrage. That is painful. IMT so firm in this positioning, so firm in their authority of what Redbird are doing on the Rift right now.
Trying to find some angles back into the enemy team's base as Anime Girl. You can see him sneaking forward, just applying that extra pressure, noticing that that turret is very close to dead, keeping the wave pushed with his hull breaker as well. The other side, I really like this play from Redbirds. They actually use this time where Immortals are just stalling out and take a mid turret.
So easily grabbing that mid lane tower off a rotation, realizing that IMT having that inside track on the Baron. Now you're going to get a recall coming out from Yen. See if you can get another item. He already has his third item, and Drew Dozer was the one who was left by himself. Dashes away. Winston looking for a little bit more. Will not challenge it. Doesn't have enough teammates nearby to take down Drew Dozer. But off that recall, it's going to be a Kindle Gem and a stopwatch pickup by Yen. So some survivability coming here for the ADC of Redbird.
Yeah, it looks like moving forward towards the Randuins to try to survive the Graves burst. And the Ezreal, who does have a little bit of crit damage also. 80 armor, no slouch there either. The stopwatch is the big thing. You can't really feasibly engage onto this champion as easily as before. Not really going to stop Winston from trying, you have to imagine.
Watch over the wall. Shochi's there. Can catch Yen. Call the Force God goes off. Looking for Winston.
He's
Winston
dead.
drops. Drew Dozer will grab that kill. Shochi, low on mana, still has the blue buff. Too contested. If a fight does come out, you have to watch that shockwave. You have to watch Anime Girl over in this bot lane taking an inhibitor. This is the pressure that you have when your base is in shambles. Redbird cannot get their control of the Rift because Anime Girl is such a menace in this bot lane.
The Hullbreaker's here. He's going for another inhibitor. Can Squilliam even stop him at this point? I'm not convinced that he can. All of that crowd control on top of him. Oh, he's taken very low, but you can see his eyes are on the prize.
He's blocking it with his body.
Oh
He's
my
making sure
god!
that Anime Girl can't hit it, but here we go. Anime Girl turns it around, grabs the inhibitor.
That's
Low health
Baron!
remains, but here comes the fight. Baron got taken. It's grabbed by Bird as they continue. Yen looking for Shochi, gets the shutdown. Shochi falls. Still, Meech is alive. That's a big pickup coming out of Redbird Esports, but their base so far in flames from Anime Girl, just walking in there and being a demolition man. Almost getting caught out here looking for the retreat. Gets it in time. Anime Girl will get to the respawn.
That was ridiculously close for Anime Girl, but he gets out alive. Gets to go back to base by a stopwatch and can consider his next form of attack onto the enemy team's base. This game is so tense. One wrong decision at any point could completely close out this game and the series for Redbird from here on out. Randuin's completed for Yen. He's very bulky on the Vayne. It's super difficult to fully wipe him out on one engage, which has been his downfall the last 3 teamfights before this one. As we get to this next Drake, Redbird do still have the win condition of the Drake Soul. IMT AOE are 2 away. And Redbird, now with Baron, have a lot of control onto the Rift. I wonder if they're going to be able to take this.
Winston's looking for an engage. They don't realize he's in the bush right there, but will get chased out because no one else in IMT could get into the jungle in time. Now Winston just chased completely away from that brush. The knockup coming out from Drew Dozer as the shockwave is returned. Drew Dozer losing a good chunk of health there. But look at this once again. Anime Girl going for that final inhibitor. There are the minions that are providing some layer of protection for Squillian. He's trying to use it as best as he can. Dragon Soul has gone over to Redbird. Here's the response out of Anime Girl as he has to just back off. There's nothing he can do knowing that the recalls are coming out of Redbird Esports. Will not grab that final to get the double supers coming into Redbird's base.
Let's take stock of Grievous wounds here. Trevor does have the Putrefier, so he can spread that across the entire team. Nobody else has that, so if Trevor can't effectively shield his team, or if he dies in the team fight, then this Ocean Soul is operating on all cylinders. Redbird can see this. If they press tab, we'll see if they can actually take advantage of it, as they do finally have this win condition. The Ocean Soul keeping them afloat in these team fights. And Yen is so bulky right now, moving forward with the Lulu, with the front line. They still have Baron for 20 seconds. Can they get another structure?
And this is so frustrating. You're trying to take down Drudozer, but he heals it right back up now that he has that Dragon Soul. Squilliam will match Anime Girl down in that bottom lane. Both of them have their teleports available. Now Redbird Esports starting up the siege and grab an inner tower.
That's the only turret that they can take with the Baron anymore. That did just expire. You have to imagine that's the last thing they can really do, as Drudozer's looking for the engage.
Here comes the knockup. Call the Forge God goes out, but the tether, no, it does not get stopped. It will land onto Trevor, but that is not the target that Drudozer wanted. Will be a re-engage coming out from IMT AOE as they chase away Redbird Esports.
Just want to deny the recalls yet again. Anime Girl ravaging the base of Redbird Esports. Maybe they can find an engage as well. Yen, a juicy target. They're looking. Nice Crescent Guard.
Good use of the Crescent Guard. Jumping in is going to be Drudozer. A shutdown.
They killed Anime Girl!
Anime Girl! Anime Girl's down. The teleport's coming in. And now Redbird Esports are looking for the re-engage. Here comes the teleport from Drudozer. He's looking to find the pincer. He's looking to find the flank. But a rotation out of IMT Immortals will send them towards the Baron pit and away from Drudozer. But that is also away from their base. Drudozer does not have Call the Forge God, and this end right here could be intense, trying to chase them away as super minions are in your base. Here comes Redbird marching into the front door of IMT.
The super minions could potentially end it. Nobody is stopping it. Nobody's even trying on Redbird. They are not recalling. They are fully committing to the end. Anime Girl up in 20 seconds. That is the mid lane inhibitor turret dead. Ezreal ultimate used into the base, Desirux.
Oh, here we go. Call the Forge God goes off to go after Shochi, able to get the knockback on Shochi. Shochi falls before getting the shockwave off, but the minions are taking down the base. The minions are doing work. Redbird have to do work faster. They're going after the Nexus towers, but the Nexus towers are healthy. Trevor doing
Anime Girl's doing
going
it!
after the Nexus tower number 1. It will fall. There's Anime Girl. He's
Anime
teleporting
Girl!
into the base. He is going for the back door. Structures are getting destroyed.
No way!
Some way! Immortals AOE! Backdoor Redbird!
I can't believe what I just watched, Desirux. I cannot believe my own eyes.
3 hits, dude! Oh my god, that was... Oh!
Redbird! They were so close!
They saw that repeat happening. They saw the Winthrop. We keep referring to that match. Goodness gracious, they were not letting it happen. Teleport available in Anime Girl. It was the last nail needed to finally conclude this matchup, this insane series to start off day number 1, Smacks.
We still have another series after this. Oh, Redbird, they were so close. They were so close. But Immortals, they do it. Gotta give Anime Girl a lot of credit. The Hull Breaker tech, it's here. He's destroying all the structures. The minion damage eventually was enough.
We said it. Anime Girl was one of the players to watch back in old UPL, developing beautifully with that backdoor play. Because let's face it, IMT AOE were done right there. Anime Girl, the right play, right time.
Could not have been any slower on that one. He would have lost. They would have completely lost if he took his time at all. Oh, man. You know,
after all that, I love League of Legends. I love the Proving Ground Smacks. I love the matches we get.
Oh,
I'm still trying to recover.
At this point, I just want to hear what RBM's gonna say about that, because we've just got him on the desk still. It's gonna be a fun time listening to Peyton after that. I don't even know. I don't know what I would say if I was on desk for this. I don't know what I'm gonna say right now, because it was just so close. We'll have to go back and watch that so many times to see if ISU could have possibly ended faster.
Smacks. Luckily, we're not analysts. We don't have to say too much more anymore. I know RBM's dying to say much more on this. So we're gonna throw it over to the analyst desk to break down this series and that hotly contested ending.
It's a good target question. I always think those are nice.
Yeah, I think so too. We're back on the desk here, Peyton, as we look at what's going on. What? Yeah, what was laughing, dude? What just happened the entire game? Like I'm in shock, and all that right there. The fact that the anime girl won, that right there was super sugoi, bro. That's the most I can say. I don't know. Here, you know what? Because I'm at such a loss of words. Peyton, you were talking earlier. Want to take over real quick?
Yeah, I mean, that was gross. Like there's.
Yeah, bro.
Like it's hype. So like
that was a banger.
It's a banger. It's a straight up banger. But like as a player, like that only feels like a banger if you win or if you have low expectations. As someone that's been in games that are like really gross like that, like that's how it feels. So like, man, it's nice at least we got a win. But man, that was. And poor Redbirds, because they feel so bad too. But like they honestly played really, really well considering they are a collegiate team versus an LCS third team, and you did a lot of things well, but it wasn't, didn't put the icing on the cake.
Bro, there wasn't even icing. There was no cake. That was just like a funnel that you just like put it down. You were like, all right, cool, bake. All they had was flour, and then just these things just happened. That was absolutely mud. It was wild. RMC, I can see you're reeling from all this. Two feelings you wanted to get out to share with the crowd.
Yeah, I'm just going to say, as a proud minion myself, I think the minions were the MVP that game. Really streaming in and out. Doing the work. But for real, I'm actually really surprised by how well Redbird played. Yeah. And I am, I'm blown away by how well they performed that game. I think the draft as well is excellent. Coach Patter doing an amazing job with the draft as well. Like RBM had said, the free vein lane, it really came into effect. And I'm also very impressed with the way IMT AOE responded as well, recognizing that, hey, yes, the Ornn was really good in lane, but this is a one-threat composition. And as long as we can get Winston, Shochi on top of the vein multiple times, that's all we need to win the game. Anime Grow, just go play Split Push Simulator, and yeah, it worked out, and that's something that they had to adapt on the fly. So I absolutely love that IMT AOE were able to identify and execute.
I think that describes it perfectly. RMC adapting on the fly, considering every single team fight that you saw, especially going past our 25 minutes, you truly were not sure what was going to happen. You had absolutely no idea, because I'm still at a loss for words as to like what was going to happen. I truly thought the Redbird had it. Every single fight was almost in their favor. It seemed as though the things that had the, but like, yo, if you look at it like this, look at this backdoor, right? Look at the final fight. Just Peyton, let's go ahead and look at this real quick, because that was mod.
Yeah, I mean, this was a huge engage. Shoshi did not use flash at any point, so this is like where the beginning of the disaster starts. But at this whole time, we saw the minion waves coming in, and we knew Grace had TP on spawn. So in the call, we're just sitting here saying, "Oh, but he's got TP. What if he goes?" And like, can they hold? And it was, it ended up being super, super close, but he ended up doing it. Thankfully, the top lane tier 1 or the top Nexus turret was low from the inhib that was down way earlier. It did not regen back up enough, and Grace was able to finish it. But man, that is a full-on amateur classic right there.
The backdoor to end all backdoors, and the fact with all of that here at RMC, I'm sure that with everything that happened here today, we still got one more series after this, bro. Yeah. That's one more best of 3, man.
Yeah, and if anything, we thought the other best of 3 was going to be the closer one here. So this is what we came down to with IMT AOE versus ISU, and granted, like Desiruk said, Collegiate Kryptonite does seem to be the thing for IMT AOE here. I'm looking forward to what we see next, because if anything, that should be spicier with a name like Ginger Turmeric. Spice and everything nice.
Exactly, my friend. But speak to a person who's potentially spicier, we do have Anime Girl on deck for the interview, so we'll get him all up and rolling up after this very, very short break. Right, so y'all don't go nowhere, bro. Let's go talk to Dave's King. See you back in a bit. Yo, boys, I hope you're ready because I got the one and only anime girl beside me by my side. Yo, how are you feeling after that game? I know I can barely breathe.
No, I mean that game is a huge relief for everyone. Coming into it, we are definitely one of the favorites for the tournament, and getting upset early like last time definitely isn't the way we want to go this time around. Overall, like I'm happy we came out with the win, but I think there's a lot to look over, a lot to improve on from this series, and I'm sure that we'll come back to the next series like twice the team that we were.
I definitely agree, and I'm sure RBM would agree as well because he had some strong opinions on y'all earlier. But past all that, what I do want to ask you though is, I know we were talking about this earlier. Your Nexus was 1 health away, which is baffling.
Yeah, no, it was really close. Like I TP'd in, I killed the 2 Nexus towers, I started right-clicking their Nexus, I saw that the minions weren't getting in my way, and I literally just panned my entire camera over to my Nexus, just hands off the keyboard, nothing, I was just staring at the health bar, and then like, I saw my Nexus about to explode, it was like 50 health, and then suddenly the camera started moving towards the enemy Nexus, and I knew like, at that point, like, it was over, like, we won, like, and that was just like a surreal feeling, for sure.
50 health, which is mod. Like, if you genuinely think about it, it is baffling to be able to think about, considering if any one of them autoed it, if any one of them autoed a minion before that too, it's just they're probably kicking themselves, bro, because that one auto mode would have made all the difference. So that is phenomenal to see. I am genuinely still like so flabbergasted with how everything went, because I know personally, because RBM also wanted to find out as well, what was the importance of Graves in the series, considering how high priority you guys in both Redbird had on it?
Well, to be honest, I think Graves is just a really, really strong pick right now. We did our research beforehand on their top laner, and we saw that he doesn't really have too many picks into it that prevents Graves from scaling or really like threatens it in lane. So, you build the Hull Breaker, that OP item, and then, you kind of sit on side for the entire game, and then naturally you'll just become a monster because Graves is such insane scaling.
Yeah, he is absolutely phenomenal, and considering the way you guys brought it out, just the Graves was the one that made the difference, and, even though you had the anathemas on you, even though you were losing the 1v1s, unfortunately, because past the Baron up minions, you still got the inhibs, and really clutch performances from every single one of y'all, to y'all making sure to keep your mental cool, your sweat off your palms, and keep it clean and clear. Of course, final question for you here, homie. Shout out you want to give out to your team or anybody else watching?
Honestly, I just want to shout out my entire team. I think games like these is always tough, especially if we're against like an underdog and we're on the back foot and stuff like that. It's all tough, but we kept it cool. We trusted in each other. We played like a different style than we were used to. Like for me, I started taking a lot more control of this game because usually like Winston is amazing. He's our main shot caller, but I also recognize that I'm in control of this game, and if anyone's gonna carry this game through, it's gonna be through my split push, my moves. So it was kind of a weird adaptation for our team for me to be shot calling so much, but we adapted really, really well. My team really trusted me, and I can't thank them enough for it. So thank you to all my friends and my girlfriend. She's probably in the chat right now, supporting me this entire way. They've been watching like all my games. It's always really, really nice to bring out a win for them, and just having them support me after games is just amazing.
All right, shout out to the homies, shout out to the girls, especially to you. Look at that, you do your due diligence. Of course, getting your brownie points. I respect you for that, man. And big shout out to you with the team, homie. That was amazing. Y'all kept us on edge, bro. I absolutely loved that. Yes, I appreciate you coming on as well.
Of course. Thank you for having me. Have a great day, guys.
Peace, man. Take care. We'll be back with another BO3 series. We'll see y'all then. Peace.